Oh my God, I think I have just been fucking turned on again. Hello, Manifestors. You are looking at, I'm going to move my camera over here. You are looking at the Manifestor been lit the fuck back up again. Because guess what? I posted that first. I'm not even getting my VA to edit this. I have a VA for in my normal business. But I'm like, she's too busy at the moment or automating the rest of my business. Anyway, I was like, I don't even think I want to edit this shit anyway. Like, I just feel like it needs to be the raw version. Anyway, so I am so grateful because I literally filmed that first video completely in a complete mess, and I posted it to the Manifestor community. And if you're not in a Manifestor community, you need to go to Instagram and follow the Manifestor. It's Holly's. Who's absolutely changed my fucking life. Shout out to Holberg. If you're watching this, girl, you changed my life and I love it. You need to read her book and just do all of her programs. I've paid for so many of the programs and oh my God, I'm still into it all. The Manifesting Community. It's just literally called that on Instagram. Anyway, so I got into the private community and I posted this and then I just read. It's been 24 hours since I posted this video, the first episode, and I read all the comments of posting it in the private Facebook group, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Everyone was like, thanks, Liv, this is so cool, love it, blah, 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 all just amazing feedback, and I just didn't actually think that, I don't know what I thought, and then, yeah, I suppose this has just made me, I'm inspired, and I obviously react to inspiration of other people around me. I don't know if that's normal, just a generic manifestor thing, because if we are inspired by others inspiring us, but that's how I get my energy. Anyway, I don't know if that's unique to ego manifestors, not quite sure, but there you go. Anyway, I was like, you know what? I just wrapped up some business stuff, and then I was like, and then I read this stuff, and I'm starving. I haven't eaten dinner. It's like 7:30 at night. I would normally eat dinner about 5 p.m. And I was like, I've got to get to the shops and get something. I'm like, no, I'm so excited to film this video. I was like, I want to do it now. Fuck dinner. And trust me, I'm a foodie. So a lot of food trauma going on. We can talk about that later on. Anyway, so I was like, I need to film this and say thank you to everyone. And also I thought I would share a bit of the journey about what even happened after I posted that video. So fucking hell, this is what happened, right? So I made that video around just before lunchtime. And then I basically had a massive breakdown just afterwards. I started crying. I'm like, the world's ending. Oh my God, how do I not burn down my business? I just want to announce to the world I'm going to shut the whole entire thing down. I was saying to my partner, anyway, so my partner's just like, she's like, what's going on with you? And I'm just like, this is me like having a breakdown. And I think I've been having these breakdowns throughout as I've been resisting the deconditioning of something. There's been a bit of a pattern where I've had this big breakdown around resisting something roughly every 2 to 3 months, which is also typically, funnily enough, I don't know if this is aligned to astrology and eclipses or not, but it has ironically been aligned to the start of a big eclipse, which generally then leads me to wanting to have a reading with my astrologist, because I love astrology. I don't know how to read it or anything or interpret it. I just go to resources to quickly fast track me and teach me and tell me the fuck's going on. And then I also go to my kinesiologist, which I'm booked in for tomorrow as well, to go through some of that trauma stuff and whatnot. So anyway, so that's what happened. And so I just want to say thank you for those who have watched the first episode. And I'm that person that always just wants to give value. I'm that type of person where I'm just like, oh, hopefully there can be like a lesson in this in some way. So I'm going to give you a couple of things that I learned about myself and that hopefully this can be of value to someone else. So I think I shared on the first episode that I originally got a couple of reading designs. That's where I think most people kind of start off from. Got one design in middle of 2022, didn't really do anything with it. Actually, no, that's a lie. I did take away a lot of that, but I had to process a lot of it. Then got another reading. Then I ended up finding out from one of those readers that they actually had like a hierarchy, like a high level HD course. that was about all the design types. And so I was like, great, I did that. I think I paid like $500 Australian for it or something. Me and my partner did it together because my partner's fully into HD as well. And then that was just like the next level, because then I could compare myself as a manifestor to the other design types. It really helped me create empathy around other design types, because as a manifestor, I was really confused. Truth be told, as a manifestor, until I would say the biggest thing that human design's ever given me is empathy for other types. Because I was always that person in human design where I was just like, why don't you guys just get it? Don't you just get like the next thing? This is simple. Duh. So I would view the whole world as if they were dumb. I know this is like, and I'm like, I wonder if is this my parenthood? Is this my mummy trauma coming out? Like, I don't know. So anyway, is this because I had, I was a year 10 high school dropout who was dyslexic and couldn't fucking read. I was told dumb and I was told to stay down in school and whatever. So I didn't know if that was some of the traumas. I did originally think that. Then once I got into human design, I just realized, and I'm just like, oh no, I just have this unique skill set where I just kind of know what to do next. It's just like, I don't really need to fully understand. I kind of get like the next step. You could give me like a drop or like a seed of something. I kind of just get the next thing. Like, you don't need to go on forever about it. Like, I just got it. Yeah. So now it's just like, because I've entered the entrepreneurial space for the last 2 years, I'm just like, oh, duh. Now to me, I feel like it's all common sense. I'm like, oh, business is easy now. Now all you need to do is you just need some sales skills, some marketing skills. You need to learn how to outsource and do leadership skills. And like, that's it. And then if you don't know how to do those things, you just simply just hire a coach, right? In that particular niche, or wherever that bottleneck is. And so now I've learned also now how to buy companies with zero money down and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm just like, this is fucking easy. I was going to get my shit out of here without having to do it. So anyway, I'm calling in, because now that I buy companies, I also am like calling in saying the next person who's got a business for sale, like, they're just going to walk into my life, right? I'm not going to go and have to hustle like the network marketing teachers where they're like, send 150 emails to your database and send out all these text messages and see who's available to sell their business. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. Yuck, that's a generator job. First thing that came to my mind when I was taught how to do that, first thing that came to my mind was like, one, I'm not doing it. Yuck. And two, I was like, if I need to do it, let's get my VA and I'll train someone up on how to do it. But even then I'm like, no, I'm just going to manifest it. Someone's just going to come. I just know that someone's just going to come to me. Anyway, why did I go down that rabbit hole? Tangent. Where was I? Anyway, can't even remember. That's right. I was telling you about my process about how I got to where I am from human design. So then what happened was, did 2 singular readings, then did the big human design sort of course. That was like a rabbit hole for a few months. And that was that was middle of 2023. But then the biggest thing happened. Then about February or March of 2024, one of my fiance, who's a projector, she made a new bestie who was obsessed with human design. In fact, she wanted to become a human design coach. And I was like, okay, so she was also a projector. So it was this beautiful projector, always hanging out at our house. And she was a single mom, such a small, petite, little cute, like little lady. And she was an immigrant as well. And I just fucking loved her. And I was always like, oh my God, you're so cute. Oh my God, I feel so seen by you. And I was always like, oh my God, I feel naked around you. And then she would just, because she'd read my chart, because she understood human design so deep, and she also understood gene keys, and she also understood astrology. Originally, she was an astrology person that got into human design, then it got into gene keys. And I think a lot of these sort of get mixed up. Anyway, merged together is what I meant to say. So anyway, so one day this lady, right, she's like, she just left her job. She was in corporate life, and she's like, what am I going to do? And she was trying to become a coach, and she didn't know what. And then we were hanging out in my pool one day, and I'm not shit you, I fucking got the biggest urge of my life. And I was like, I jumped on top of her. I scared the freak out of her. I was like, oh my God, you need to be my one-on-one human design coach. And she's like, totally startled, right? And she's like, okay, what does that mean? And I was like, I don't know. But I'm like, I'm going to pay you, and I'm going to be in your back pocket, and you're going to coach me through my human design. Because she was always kind of already doing it every time she came over. She would come over every Friday. She dropped her daughter off at school, and she would hang out at our house. And it was one of the days that I was like really excited. Anyway, so she'd never been paid for this stuff before. And I was like, I'm just going to pay you. And she's like, oh, how's it going to work? So then one of the things that I learned from her, now, again, this is from a perspective of this is my specific chart. I don't know if this is, again, for all manifestors, but she taught me one of the biggest things. Ready? I've got my notepad. I'm fucking going to get it out for you. I'm going to teach you, right? Explain to you. So this is one of the biggest lessons that I had at the start of 2024. She taught me to stop looking for a community and instead start building a communion. And I was like, what the fuck is a communion? Like, we're going to go hang out at the local church and fucking eat the bread? Like, that's what I thought a communion was? And she's like lolling so much. She's also extremely religious as well. And anyway, so she's like, I've got to stop seeking to belong and instead create one-on-one connection. So a communion is a deep one-on-one connection. And I was like, it was just coming down. So what had happened was, obviously I'm hugely into growth, and I had started, and I'm hugely into like the entrepreneurial space. And so I started going into all of these different entrepreneurial containers, and I would either get into the container and I was a small fish in a big pond, but I'd quickly fucking surpass everyone as we do in Manifestors, and I'd get bored so fucking quickly. And so I kept joining these 12-month containers. And then I just feel like, one, I shouldn't be locked into contracts at all. We don't like the control. We like the freedom and the flexibility. Two, I was joining other people's communities where I'm meant to create the communion myself. So what she taught me was to set the tone. Oh, this changed my life. She's like, no, Liv, you're the manifestor. You're meant to dictate the tone of how you want to work together. And I was like, okay. So she taught me that before I'd approached her. So before I'd approached her in the pool and said, oh my God, be my coach, I'd actually started naturally setting the tone because she had trained me to do that. Right? So anyway, I was just like, I don't know what it looks like. Let's just trial it, right? Because she didn't have any clients. So I was like, I'll be your first client. I'll give you the best fucking testimonial because you've already changed my life for free already, just being a friend hanging out. But now it's going to be like a business relationship, right? And I said, I want access to you one-on-one. So I just want to be able to message you. Like, I hate Voxer. Voxer's fucking shit. All the coaches are in there. Anyway, so I was just like, not Voxer. Voxer's shit. I'm like, let's do like WhatsApp or Slack, right? Anyway, she's like, okay. And then I was like, I'll pay you. And I just made up the number. And I think I said $1,500 a month. So I said, that's right. I think I said, I gave her an idea. She came back to me. So she worked with her actual coach because it's the first time she had a sale. And she comes back to me and she's like, what about it was $2,500 for Australian for 3 months. I was like, deal, done. Let's make it happen. Anyway, so then I'm getting all excited, right? I'm like, yes, got this coach. So now I know I've got her for 3 months. And fuck me dead, did I pull in some of the biggest lessons. And I, as a resource in one of my, my money resource line that I have, fuck me, did I pull her in as a resource that I needed, because I went through one of the biggest lessons that I had not yet learned, which was the community thing. So I've got to stop jumping into other people's existing containers. That's what I'd learned. And instead I've got to approach people and say, hey, this is how I want to work moving forward. This is the way that I want to work. So I need to have this type of flexibility. I don't like to be locked in, all this blah, blah, blah stuff, right? I'm okay doing a small locking period, but like not long term. So all of my contractors that I now hire in my business, I make sure that I set that tone from day one. But when I started work, so that's been, 10 months ago or so now. But when I first hired her, I ended up joining this container, right? It was a full-on generator container. And I didn't realize it at the time. I just fucking joined in because I got this big urge to be like, yes, fucking jumped in. And I realized at the time when I jumped into this container, it was for investors to learn how to track and manage their money. Now, if we want to talk about money, and I'm an investor, and I do things completely contrary to everyone else, duh, right? So I built wealth completely the opposite to how most people should do it. Most people should follow a process and follow a guideline and blah, blah, blah. Everything I've done to be successful, whether it was reach the top 1% of property investors, whether it was build my business, I did fucking everything opposite. I just jumped in blindly and just did stuff, and I was full fucking initiated manifester, right, of everything I've ever done. So when I jumped into this container, and it was like, you have to be stringent, you've got to have, it was all about managing money for business owners who are wanting to invest outside of their business. Now, for context, the main reason why I jumped in there was because I was like, oh, I was a new business owner, and I had this big ATO, which for those watching overseas, I had this big shock of an ATO bill that I'd never really planned for. Well, the bill hadn't come yet, but my accountant was forecasting it, and they're like, it's going to be this much. I was like, holy fuck, I didn't know it was going to be that much. Like, what? We didn't plan for this. Anyway, luckily enough, they told me about a quarter in advance so I could plan, and I thought the world was ending at the time, and I was like, oh my God, business is hard. What the fuck? I didn't know you had to manage money, and I fucking hate managing money. I just like to think infinitely. I was like, well, money is infinite. You just fucking make it, and whatever money you end up making, if you focus on making money, you don't have to budget, right? Maybe that's my 1% money line coming out. I don't know. So then anyway, so then I enter this container with this real stringent sort of generator, and I'm feeling sick. Like the day that I enter it, it's like I had researched this guide, followed him on TikTok. I was like, yes, the values align. Yes, business owners should be investing outside of their business to create passive income, right, to free themselves. So anyway, enter this container. I then get out. I'm in it, and I'm reading all the stuff that I have to do and the way that you have to set up bank accounts. And I'm like, I want to vomit. And I'm like, this feels so restrictive. I'm like, I can't. My anxiety, my tight chest, I couldn't sleep for nights. And then I was messaging this new coach, and she just jumped on board. And I was like, this is what's going on. And she's like, yes, sweetie, because it's so restrictive for you. That's why. And I'm like, oh, duh, I'm not meant to like fully follow processes and all this sort of stuff. And then she's like, and she's reading back the responses from this particular guy, from this coach. And the way that he's writing, he wrote this one word, and he goes, the reason why I teach people how to follow this process is because because I was frustrated. And he used this one word, frustration. As soon as he said that, my perfect projector coach turned around and just said, aha, he's a generator. He's used the words frustrated. I bet he's a fucking generator. And she's like, probably not for you, Liv. She's like, what are you feeling into it? Anyway, so she's like, full coaching me through it. I was like, I need to leave. And then anyway, so I booked a call with him. He wanted to like really set his big ego. And I'm like, whoa, this guy's egotistic as fuck. He doesn't like it that I'm pushing up against him. I'm telling him it's not right for him without mentioning the woo-woo of like, human design, because I knew he wouldn't understand it. I basically delivered it to him. He wanted to turn around and say, you're not coachable, blah, blah, blah. Like, he just really wanted to put the blame on me. And I sat there and I just took it, and I was just like, look, we're not the right fit for each other. And I had signed up to 12 months to work with him. So I was like, oh, fuck me. Is this guy going to charge me 12 months, like break free or something? Like, that's what I was kind of worried about. Anyway, and then I just came into it, and I was just like, I'm just going to go into that call and he's going to let me free. He's going to charge me. I'm just like, I'm going to manifest. He's just going to charge me 1 month's worth of cancellation fees, and he'll let me go because I'm just such a big energy. And he did. He just let me go. He charged me 1 month, 1 extra month in advance, just like kind of like a gym would do. And it was sweet days. Anyway, that in the moment, I thought my world was ending, and I was just like, I thought I was stuck in this container of like, I've got to fucking get out. And that was such a cool lesson. So lesson here is, don't enter containers. Although, even though I had entered containers and they'd worked for me in the past, but they'd worked because the previous coaches gave me no restrictions. So it's like, without them knowing I was a manifestor, they treated me like a manifestor, and they gave me complete freedom and flexibility. And my past coaches, I had 2 other business coaches before this guy. And those 2 business coaches, not only did I stay in their containers for the whole time, I extended the time they stayed in their containers because of the value that I took away from it. And also, they became my best fucking friends, and they're both invited to my wedding. And one of them is even doing fucking speeches at my wedding because he became literally like a brother to me. So anyway, fuck that guy for thinking that I'm not coachable. Whether that's my ego or not, I don't know. Anyway, so lesson number 1 there was don't go looking for a community. Now I've got to build communions. So look for that one-on-one resource. So a lot of my contractors or people that I'll hire now inside my business, I just focus on them not being a large agency, for example. So for example, I've just engaged ads for the first time. I wanted it to be a smaller guy who's still just as experienced, but I want his one-on-one attention and build a one-on-one relationship with me. Same with my AI and automation guy. Same sort of thing. I had that with him. Same sort of thing with my VA. She's worked with me every day for the last 2 years. So real one-on-one service. So there are a couple of my early lessons from hiring that one-on-one coach. I don't have her anymore. I do believe that our 3 months was enough to work together, and I'd fucking learned so much from her. And now that I've found Holly's community, which is Manifestors by Manifestors, that's just another cool lesson that I don't think that the projector coach was that next level that they just simply can't provide because they're not a manifestor. So that was kind of cool. So I'm so fucking grateful for that. I'm just looking at my notes just to see if there's another one. And the other lesson is setting the tone. So setting the tone of how we want to work and how we want other people to respond to us. I learned that was a really cool lesson. And what I learned later on through the Manifestor community was around the tone setting is essentially what she's saying. I think it means the same thing about just informing. But I really related to the setting the tone. So I set the way that I want to work and how we're going to work together. So when I approached my ads guy, for example, I said to him, what platform do you usually communicate to your existing clients on? And he said a particular platform. Can't remember what he said. And I said, I don't like that. Can we use Slack? He's like, yeah, sure for you. I'm like, great. And then I also said to him, and I was like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like contracts. I don't want to sign up to a 12-month minimum or anything like that. I'd rather it be flexible month by month. And if you provide a good service, I'll just fucking stay on forever. For as long as you help solve my problems for me, I'll keep going. And you have an elite, customer service, I'll keep staying on. I just don't like the restriction because I feel fucking suffocated. It's like literally suffocation. And he was like, great, we'll just do monthly. And he didn't even want to charge me anymore. He's like, it'll still be the same. He's like, I'll provide a great service and you'll stick around. I'm like, great. And he has that one-on-one service. So that was really cool. Informing others was a big thing that I learned from her as well. I learned that informing doesn't slow me down. It actually gives me more peace. That I never realized. That was really like a whoa. Informing others isn't asking for their approval. It is simply advising them so they can get the fuck out of your way and it'll give you more peace. How funny. You know what? Ever since I read that in the Manifestor book, for those of you who don't know what it's called Informed, fuck me. We're going to get to that book later on, but fuck me, did that change my life. That was later on in 2024. So that's only been quite recent. I came across that 3 or 4 months ago since recording this. So you are watching live a manifestor learn and decondition basically live, like a couple of months behind, which is pretty cool. I've also learnt from that little container that I joined for a couple of fucking days that I exited out of. I learnt that in that scenario, I needed him to get really angry and to pressure test my ego so that I felt like I could leave and like it was okay to leave. Also, I don't know if you've ever done this, but this is something complete tangent again. Here we go. I've also felt like I've done this with friends. So I don't know if this is an ego side or if this is just a generic, again, manifestor thing. But fuck me dead, I will literally cut people so quickly. There's one part of me that's just like, I wish sometimes I had more empathy because I can be a bit harsh. But other times I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. You're annoying me. And so I can come across as really brutal. So, for example, I will become best friends with someone to have the deepest connection, and then they could just be really needy in some way or just annoying, and I'll cut them. I'll like literally ghost them. Well, not ghost them. I'll give them a bit of a warning and be like, some sort of like, you annoy me. We're done. And I'll just cut them, and they'll have like no warning, and I've disappeared and I've blocked them in every way. I'd love to know. Please comment below. Have you ever done that? Do you just cut people, or is that just me? I don't know. But I've just done that with every single friend. The first person I ever did that to was my childhood best friend of like 15 years, and when we were 19, I did it to her, and I held on to so much guilt for that, so many years, that I would keep going back to her like 5 years later being like, I'm so sorry I did that to you. She's like, no, seriously, I'm fine. And I realized maybe there's some sort of trauma there that I need to work on, or acceptance. And so I had another best friend for 2 years, did that to her again. And her mum and her whole family were messaging me being like, what have you done to our daughter? Why did you just leave her like that? You're horrible. And I was like, am I horrible? And then I just recently did that again this year. I had the latest best friend I had was I'm mid-30s. My latest best friend, I asked her to be my maid of honor at my wedding. We've been best friends for 12 years. So for 12 years, she's literally been my fucking sister, my ride or die. And in the last 2 years, I've just felt like illed at the thought of talking to her, because I was like, oh my gosh, she's so draining. But I don't know if this is line 5 of me, or whether or not I wanted to hang around thinking like I needed to save her. That is a very common trend of me, where I think I need to stay around and try and help her, because she was quite depressed and suicidal, and she went on medications and whatnot. And then she got better. She took herself off. She's all good again after COVID really impacted her, but she had a lot of people committing suicide around her, and then like she had to run to them and she would see them dead. So anyway, so that was fair enough, right? She went through some shit. And then I was like, after she got better, I was like, oh, I can't be your best friend anymore. I'm like, I'm not excited to get on the phone to you or talk to you or hang around you anymore. And yeah, I'd asked her to be my maid of honor, and she cracked it. Apparently for 6 months she held on and wasn't happy with the way that I asked her to be my maid of honor. It wasn't good enough. And I was like, what the fuck? So we just had a big brawl, big fight over the phone or on Facebook Messenger, because we live in different states. And I just cut her off, and I just had to go with her. We never ever yelled, never had a fight in 12 years. It needed to be aggressive, I think, enough for me to just rip it off like a band-aid and just leave. Like, I needed her to get angry at me so that I could be like, you're too hard! Yuck! Go away! You're annoying my fucking aura! And then I just ended it. I was like, we're done! You're not invited to the wedding anymore. So she went from the highest role in my wedding as my maid of honor, and I cut it. Her and a partner. Anyway, that friendship ended a few months ago, for about 5 months ago. And everyone around me is like, how are you feeling about it? And I'm like, I'm numb. I'm like, fuck, man, I'm brutal. I'm like, yeah, I've had a few tears, I'll admit. There's been some things or events that I've done where I've sat there and be like, oh, and reminisced over the times that we had together. And it was such beautiful moments that I had with her, and I don't regret it, but fuck me, I'm brutal. Anyway, so that's how I end friendships, when people piss me off or they just get a little bit too needy. I fucking hate needy cunts, honestly. I can't believe I just said that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. Anyway, I'm Aussie. I say that word. Also, if you're offended by swear words, you're probably not going to listen to this. I love swearing, and it's just a sound. There we go. It's just a sound. Anyway, I think that's enough. I've chewed off your ears enough for today. I went for 30 minutes. If you like to listen to this on speed, just like I do, 2x speed, whatever, 1x, there you go. Hopefully that was of value to you. There's so many notes. I've got a gut feeling what I'm going to do. Now, I've just started this trend. Here we go. It's my creative edge for tonight. Is I have, throughout 2024, I've literally been taking notes of everything that I've learned. So lessons and all of that sort of shit. I think I'm going to start with doing some of that. It might be a mixture of that, and it might be a mixture of me just jumping on when I'm learning that lesson in the moment. Maybe. There we go. So comment below if this gave you any sort of value at all. I'd love to know. I am doing this for me, but I'm also doing this to impact as well. So your comments would actually mean so much to me. So hit the subscribe button as well. Make sure you click on that. Hit the like button so that I know that that people are taking some love away from this. Anyway, peace out. Love to read your comments below.